नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे राम राम हरे अहो अहो भीर न कलेर विधूयते सुधा सुधारा मधुरम पदे पदे दिने दिने चंदन चंद्र शीतले यशो यशोदा तनयस्य गीयते. This is a very beautiful and a famous verse in Sanskrit which is very relevant in the occasion of Janmasthami. Why? Aho aho bhir na kaler vidhuyate. I was told the students are all chanting the holy name between 4 rounds and 12 rounds, and they have all been participating in the programs for quite some time. So I believe everyone is aware about the basic philosophy. So I'll build from there. So aho aho bhir na kaler vidhuyate, which means the sun of Kali Yuga, the heat, the distress, the hankering, the lamentation, the frustration, the irritation, the agitation, the provocation of Kali Yuga, na vidhuyate. Aho aho vir na kaler vidhuyate. That heat, that sorrow will not touch one person. And on the other hand, what will happen? Sudha, sudhara madhuram pade pade. The word sudha means nectar. How much nectar? One drop nectar? No, sudhara. We know dhara means a stream. Amrit ki dhara, jaise kehte hain Hindi mein. So sudha, sudhara. Su means sushtu, maximum, and dhara means stream. So sudha, sudhara, madhuram pade pade. Instead of that person being touched by the heat of distress of Kali Yuga, he will be touched by the sweetness of the abundant stream-like flow of sudha or nectar, pade pade, at every step in life. Not just that, dine dine, as days pass by, chandana chandra shitale, as he performs bhakti, as he continues performing bhakti dine dine, then what happens? Chandana chandra shitale. Imagine the body being completely anointed with chandan, sandalwood paste. And then he's standing under the moonbeams at night. Chandrika, Chandrima, the pleasing, soothing, relaxing rays coming from the moon. So he already has chandan on his body, and now he's standing under the relaxing, rejuvenating, soothing, calming effect of the moonbeams at night. How much cold and how much comfortable he will feel. So one, he is not being burnt by the heat of the fire of the sun of Kali Yuga. He is not touched by the suffering of Kali Yuga. On the other hand, Sudha Sudhara Madhuram Pade Pade. At every step in life, he is experiencing only sweetness, unlimited stream-like, abundant flow of sweetness. And not just that, as days continue in the path of bhakti, he feels so relaxed, he feels so comfortable, he feels so happy, as much as Chandana Chandra Shitale, as if his body is anointed with sandalwood and he's standing under the moonbeams at night. Who is this person who experiences so much happiness? Yasho, Yashoda Tanayasya Giyate. He who is busy singing and hearing the glories, the yashaha of Yashoda Nandan, the son of Yashoda. Giyate. He who sings the yashaha, the fame, the names of Krishna, the forms of Krishna, the glories of Krishna, the pastimes of Krishna, the abode of Krishna, Vrindavan Dham, the associates, the friends of Krishna, the devotees of Krishna. Those personalities who are speaking, chanting, singing the yasha, the fame of Yashoda Nandan, the son of Yashoda Sri Krishna, such a person, although he lives amidst the problems of this world, he will not be touched by that. Instead, he will be floating in happiness. Sri Radha Govinda Preme Sada Jena Bhasi. He will be swimming on the waves of happiness. So if we want to live in this world but not be of this world, be like a lotus, we may be in the muddy pool of problems. We may be in a pool filled with dirt, in the form of calamity, in the form of problems, in the form of anxiety, in the form of stress. But still we can live like a lotus, in the pond but not connected to the pond, like the pure Vaishnavas. But for that we have to sing the glories, the yasha of Yashoda Nandan. You see in this verse how beautifully there's poetic embellishment, which means there's poetry, Sanskrit poetry of repetition is used. Like aho aho bhir. You see, aho aho bhir nakaler vidhuyate sudha sudhara sudha sudha madhuram pade pade dine dine chandana chandra shitale yasho yashoda tanayasya giyate. So through poetry and such beautiful unparalleled compositions, such sweet secrets of happy life are revealed. So now let's dive straight into this topic for the next 1 hour or so. The topic that I have been asked to speak on by His Grace Radhesham Prabhu is the appearance of Krishna in the jail and the enchanting pastimes related to it. So I will be repeating what I have heard from the lips of my very beloved, reverential, spiritual master, my Guru Dev, Om Vishnupad Ashtotara Shata Shri Srimad Srila Radha Govinda Das Goswami Maharaj, who is a very dear beloved disciple of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Please forgive me if you're hearing something else also. There's one man outside the door who's just cleaning up the place. So just in case if you hear some machine sound, just bear with me. He's just going to be here for a couple of seconds, then he will leave. So some machine work going on. Okay. So whatever I've heard from the lips of my spiritual master and what I have read in the books of Srila Prabhupada, in the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam, etc., on the basis of the Sanskrit commentaries, commentaries are additional notes given by our acharyas. Acharyas are different teachers in the line who come in different generations, and they start writing different supporting notes to the Srimad Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita so that we can understand better. So on the basis of what I've heard from the superiors, what I've read in Prabhupada's books, and in the commentaries of the acharyas, in the time that we have, I would like to present. So please give this discussion as much attention as possible, because this is the way by which we can have Krishna enter in the courtyard of our heart. If you feel, you can hear very attentively, without talking, without any distraction. And if you feel even more inspired, you can even write things that you want to carry from this discussion. Because Vyasadeva also had compiled all the Srimad Bhagavatam, and it had come down from generations. If you see, all the Vedic literature had come down through hearing, the Shruti process. But Vyasadeva understood, Prayena alpayusha sabhya kalau asmin yuge jana manda sumanda matayor manda bhagya rupadritaha. That in Kali Yuga, everyone, Prayena alpa ayusha sabhya, mostly people will be alpa ayushi. Forget about 150 years. Forget about 100 years. Even if someone lives 80 years, they're considered to live a long life. On an average, people get heart attacks even in their 30s and 40s and 50s. And with Corona happening, you can see that one virus is sweeping the whole world. So in Kali Yuga, people have short lives. Alpayusha sabhya, kalau asmin yuge janaha. And manda, they're very, very slow, very lazy, very, very lazy, very slow in everything, very lazy in their practice. Not for material things. For material things, they're very enthusiastic. But when you tell them to wake up and chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, oh, very lazy, very slow. You tell them to read Bhagavad Gita, very lazy and very slow. You tell them to do some service to the Vaishnavas, oh, very lazy and very slow. Manda. But even if they're enthusiastic, Sumandamati, they're very slow here. They will try to hear, but they will not grasp much. And even if we grasp much, we will not retain much. And even if we retain much, we will not be able to reproduce much. So these are symptoms of Kali Yuga. And we all have this, because we are all the products of Kali Yuga. Manda sumanda matayor, manda bhagya, and ill fortune, which means even with less lifespan, and being slow and lazy and less intelligent, we are ill-fortuned, which means we may have everything with us. We may have the right books. We may have the right association. We may have the right congregation, the right temples. We may have the right teachers. We may have the right classes. We may have all the fortune possible, the right food, the right clothing, the right shelter. All these needs are met, but still, manda bhagya, we are distracted. Ill fortune, misfortune, unfortunate, that we are looking here and there and everywhere when Krishna is right in front of us. We are busy to well, we'll start off by saying, I want to chant Hare Krishna with the devotees on Zoom. And then when it comes on Zoom, we're looking on who all have joined. And then we see who all have kept their video on and their audio on. And then you see whose profile picture is what. And how many people, how many numbers have joined, and who's joining first and who's joining last and who's leaving first. All of these things we're thinking. And then when we minimize that, then our mind goes into what are the WhatsApp notifications and what are the Facebook notifications, how many emails I have got. And the mind is, the fingers are going on the Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And the mind is also spinning around. This is called Mandabhagya, real unfortune, misfortune. And most importantly, after all of this, Upadrita. Upadrita means, Drita in tabla, Dhritlai means fast speed. So even after all of this, we are so restless. Even if we focus, even if we have, let's say, everything right, we are focusing, still we are impatient. We can't just be there. We can't just sink there in that activity. When we're doing kirtan, we can't just do kirtan. When we're chanting japa, we can't just chant japa. When we're taking darshan of the deities, we can't just take darshan of the deities. When we're reading shastra, we can't just read shastra. We want to multitask. And we're impatient. How much time? 15 minutes over. How many rounds have I finished? So always restless. So amidst all of this, Vyasadeva understood that it's very, very important to have shastra in a written form so that we can preserve it for long. So for all Satya, Treta, Dwapar, shastra came down through Shruti, through hearing. And therefore people were called as Shrutidhar, which means they could hold it just by hearing. But now in Kali Yuga, Mastak will not work. So we need Pustak to write everything. So therefore, if we feel inspired, these are not my words. These are the words of the Acharyas. Therefore, we all can relish and together dive deep into these words. Let us get started. So the scene is in Mathura, and this is the jail of Kamsa Maharaj. We know, very famous pastime, but we will hear things from the Acharyas today, which will give us the lessons behind and the meanings behind these pastimes. So the scene, the setup is the jail in Mathura. As we know, Devaki and Vasudev have had 6 children, and the 7th child was a miscarriage, and the 8th child was Krishna. So this we are aware. But what does it stand for? What is the meaning of 6 children being killed by Kamsa, 7th child being Balaram, miscarriage, which means he's transferred. There is a Garbha Sthanantara, which means there's a movement of the baby from one womb to another. This is unheard of in this world. So the 7th child was Baladev or Balaram, Krishna's older brother. And he moved from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini. So it seemed as if Devaki had a miscarriage. So 6 of her children were killed by Kamsa Maharaj, and the 7th child was a miscarriage. Now Krishna was the 8th child. Now when Krishna appears like this, it's difficult to understand whether Krishna is the 7th child or the 8th child, because the 7th child was a miscarriage. So do you count that child or you don't count that child? So just to topple Kamsa's counting and his arithmetic flow of whether this is the 7th child or the 8th child, therefore Krishna on purpose got in Baladev as the 7th, which was a miscarriage, which was a movement from one womb to another. So actually the 8th child is Krishna, but externally seems to be the 7th appeared child. What is the lesson out of this? Our Acharyas describe very beautifully that Devaki represents a devotee. And Devaki was always afraid of Kamsa, who externally seemed to be her brother. But Kamsa represents bad association. Bad association means asat sanga. That association which takes us away from Krishna, that association which takes us away from the holy name of Krishna, which distracts us from Krishna, is called bad association, asat sanga. And that is the representation of Kamsa Maharaj. So if someone is like Devaki, like a devotee, and is always afraid of bad association, that I should not get into a company where my Krishna consciousness is lost. If someone thinks like that, then just by thinking like that and being afraid of bad association, 6 of their babies will be killed. What are those 6 babies? Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mad, and Matsarya. These are the 6 flaws of the living being. 6 coverings which stop us from reaching Krishna. In Sanskrit, the word artha means wealth or value. And anartha means that which is valueless, which is useless. Like, for example, in India, the value, the artha is rupee. And in America, the artha is dollar. But if I take a dollar, and don't think about the exchange center where I can exchange the money, just in general, if I take the dollar from America and try to use it in a sabji mandi in India, or someone from India with a rupee comes here to America and tries to use it in a mall, what happens? The rupee in India and the dollar in America is artha. It is value. It is valued and it's a source of wealth. But when you cross the place, what happens? It becomes useless. It is anartha. Artha means wealth, anartha or artha means value, and anartha means valueless, without value. So when you change the place, the same thing that had value loses its value. So these 6 things have value in this world. Lust, anger, greed, pride, envy, etc. They have value here. Therefore, Amitabh Bachchan used to be called as the angry young man, which means people had value about it. Someone is very lusty on the Bollywood screen and people are watching it, which means they have some value for it. Someone is very proud and then people will say, oh, look how honest, how straightforward, how transparent. Someone will be very envious and they will give the word as competitive spirit or very ambitious, etc. for envy, for insecurity, for jealousy. So these things have value in this world, but they have no value in that world, in the world of Krishna. Therefore, what is artha here is anartha there. They are useless in the heart. So the lesson is, if we are like Devaki and if we fear the kamsa of bad association, then these 6 anarthas, lust, anger, kama means lust, krodha means anger, lobha means greed, moha means illusion, mad means madness. Kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mad, matsarya, and matsarya means envy. These 6 things are like the 6 babies of Devaki. So these 6 anarthas of the living being get destroyed in the heart only if the living being keeps away from bad association. Now, when the heart is substantially being cleansed by the absence of these 6 anarthas, then what happens? The 7th baby enters the womb of Devaki, which means the 7th baby enters. The 7th baby is Balaram, and Balaram represents Guru Tattva, Gurudev, spiritual master. So the spiritual master comes in the life of the living being, and he comes there when there is some substantial cleansing of anarthas, when one is inquisitive, one is more desirous to know what is the absolute truth. One is more curious to know how to get Krishna, which means the anarthas have subsided little. So when these 6 babies are destroyed, not completely, but even substantially in our heart, then Gurudev appears, the spiritual master appears, senior Vaishnavas appear, and that is Balaram or Baladev. And they appear, and what do? They enter the womb, which means they enter the heart of the living being and clean the heart. And then they move on. We know Gurudev appears in this world. He's there in this world for some time. And then after that, he disappears. He appears in this world and disappears. So similarly, Baladev or Balaram, he enters the womb of Devaki. He cleans the womb for Krishna's arrival, and then he moves from one womb to another. Similarly, in the life of the Devaki-like devotee, when the 6 anarthas are substantially cleansed by the fear of Kamsa, whose bad association, then spiritual master appears, cleans up by his Harikatha, by his Harikirtan, by his instructions. He comes and he cleans the heart of the living being, and then makes the place clean enough for Krishna as the 8th child, Bhagavan, to appear in the heart of the living being. So this is the significance behind the 6 babies being killed, the 7th being Balaram, and Krishna being the 8th child. Now Krishna appears in the womb, and he appears in the form of Narayana. He appears in a fully blossomed 4-handed form. Sashanka chakram sakirita kundalam sapita vastram sarasiru hekshanam sahara vakshasthalashobi kaustubam namami vishnum shirasa chaturbhujam. In the Vishnu Sahasranam, it has been described. How does Vishnu look? Sa Shanka Chakram. In 2 of his hands, he has Shanka and Chakra. And Sa Kirita Kundalam. He has a crown and he has nice earrings. Sa Pita Vastram. And he has yellow garment, yellow dhoti. And Sa Pita Vastram Sarasiru Hekshanam. His Ikshanam, his eyes are like lotus. Kamalekshanam, Padmalochan, Kamalalochana, like that. Padmanayana, Sarasi Ruhekshanam, and Sahara Vakshasthalashobhikaustuvam. Sahara, he has a garland around his neck. Sahara Vakshasthala Shobhikaustubam, and on his chest he has a Kaustubam mani, a nice, beautiful, bedecked jewel, and Shrivatsa mark. He has a mark of the residence of Lakshmi. He has a golden hair. Suvarna Romavali, it is called in Sanskrit. He has that on his chest. Namami Vishnum Shirasa Chaturbhujam. I bow down to Namami Vishnum Shirasa, with my head. To whom? Chaturbhujam, who appears in his four-handed form. So many beautiful verses are there in the Vishnu Sahasranam glorifying Vishnu. Kshiro Danvat Pradeshe Shuchimani Vilasat Saikate Mauktikanam Mala Kripta Sanastha Spatika Maninibhair Mauktikayr Manditangah Shubrair Abrair Adabrair Upari Virajitair Mukta Piyusha Varshehi Anandina Puniya Darinali Nakada Shankapanir Mukundaha Shantakaram Bhujakashayanam Padmanabham Suresham Vishwadharam Gagana Sadrisham Meghavarnam Shubhangam Lakshmi Kantam Kamalanayanam Yogi Ridhyana Gamyam Vande Vishnum Bhavabhayaharam Sarvalokaikanatam. How is Vishnu? Shantakaram. His form is also pleasing. His swabhav, his nature is also very pleasing. Like, for example, his form is pleasing because there are other forms of divinity which are very, very dangerous. Like you look at Parashuram, he's slamming with his axe. Look at Kalki, he uses a sword. Look at Narasimhadev, he's ripping everything apart. Look at Lord Shiva with snakes and ashes and a garland of skulls, and tiger skin. So for devotees, of course, we love such descriptions because this is Ugra Anugra Evayam Swabhaktanam Rakeshari, which means he, like a lion, Narasimhadev could be very fearful for the deer and other animals, but for his own cubs, he is ultimately the father. Although these forms are very fearful for the atheists, they are very dear to the devotees. But still, amidst these forms, if you see Vishnu, Shantakaram, very, very pleasing. Even his nature is very pleasing. Bhrigu Muni kicked his chest and still he did not retaliate. Shantakaram Bhujaga Shayanam. He sleeps on a Bhujaga. Bhujaga is another name for a snake. Bhuja means hand and Ga means Gamanam. He who walks on his hand, which is a snake. Snake doesn't have hands. So his body in itself is his hand and he crawls around. So he's called Bhujaga or Uraga. Ura means chest, Urasi. And Ga means Gamanam, to go. He who goes on his chest is a snake, Uraga. So Shantakaram, Shanta Akaram, Bhujaga Shayanam, he who sleeps on a snake. And Padmanabham Suresham, Padmanabham is, there is a lotus coming from his navel. And on that lotus is Brahma appearing. Therefore, Brahma is also called Padmayonihi, that species who appears from the lotus. Padmanabham Suresham, Suranam Isham. He is the Ishaha, the master of Suranam, all the demigods. And Vishwa Adharam, he is the supporting agent for the whole world. And Gagana Sadrisham, he is like the sky, all pervading. And Meghavarnam Shubhangam, Meghavarnam, his complexion is that of a cloud. And Shubhangam, his anga, his limbs are Shubha, very auspicious. And Lakshmi Kantam, he is the Lord of Lakshmi. Kamala Nayanam, self-explanatory. Kamala means lotus, Nayana means eyes. Kamala Nayanam, Yogi Ridhyanagamyam. Yogi means yogis, Rit means heart, Dhyana means to meditate, and Gamyam means to approach, he who's approachable. He is approached by the yogis by meditation and he approaches the yogis in their heart. Dhyana Vastita Tad Gatena Manasa Pashyantiyam Yoginah. So he enters the heart of the yogis who remember him. Yogi Ridhyana Gamyam. Vande Vishnum. I bow down to that Vishnum. Vande Vishnum Bhava Bhaya Haram. Sarva Loka Ekanatham. Sarva Loka Ekanatham. He is the only master of the whole creation. Therefore, Bhava Bhaya Haram. He is fit enough, competent enough to take away the fear of material existence. So when Krishna appeared in Mathura, in the Karagraha, Kamsa Karagraha, in the jail of Mathura, he appeared in the four-handed form. And Shukdev Goswami in the Bhagavatam describes Tatascha shaurer bhagavat prachoditaha sutam samadaya sasutika grihat yada bahir gantu mihesha tarhyaja yayoga maya janimand nand jayaya. That when the Supreme Lord appeared in the prison in his four-handed form, Vasudeva and Devaki were completely awestruck. They were thinking this baby till yesterday was in the womb, but now suddenly has appeared with a four-handed form with all the different weapons and ornaments. You see, babies in this world, they appear not even with their diapers. That also has to be provided. They are born completely naked, covered by the 10 directions. And in fact, they're smeared with stool and urine and blood and whatnot. And they're crying. That's their entry in this world. But look at the Supreme Lord's arrival in this world. He is not appearing in a very pathetic situation, in a helpless situation. He's appearing by Baliyasi Kevalam Ishwara Ichha. He is appearing by his Bhagavat Ichha, by his own sweet will. He picks his parents. He picks the family. He picks the circumstance. He picks the place. He picks his outfit, his ornaments, his appearance, everything. He brings everything with him. This is the difference between Bhagavan and the living beings of this world. So we may celebrate our birthday, but what is this birthday? We have been pushed into the mother's womb through the father's semen, and we are living there in that womb for 9 months, completely bitten by worms, and we are tossing in that womb because we have no place to go. We can't leave that place, and we are tormented by hunger and thirst. And amidst that, when the mother eats things which are very spicy and very pungent, very bitter and astringent, then we as babies, we have suffered. Moreover, there are people who abort the baby in their womb itself through abortion. Think about the lives of such babies. We have gone through such lives, and living in that womb for 7 months, it's described, the baby helplessly calls out to Krishna, saying that, Krishna, please take me out of this womb. I promise this life I will use for performing bhakti at your lotus feet. I have wasted so many of my lives, but this life I will not waste. Krishna, please take me out. And Krishna, out of mercy, he takes the child out at the end of 9 months. This is found in the 31st chapter of the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. You can read it whenever you have time. The child comes in this world with so much pain. Janma is so much pain, but that Janma comes with 4 more additions, 3 more additions. It comes with Mrityu, comes with death. And between birth and death, there are 2 more junctions. One is called as old age, after which the decay process starts. And from birth to death, there is a background violin music of disease, cough and cold, and continues, whatnot. We may get all of that. So there is so much struggle. Still, we celebrate our birthday. Actually, it's not very intelligent to do that, because when we celebrate our birthday, it's almost like when someone comes into a jail, and every year they celebrate the anniversary of their coming into the jail. Think about some prisoner, some criminal who comes into the jail on, let's say, 15th of February. And then every year on 15th of February, they celebrate, because this is the year I came into the jail. The jailer will think he's such a fool. You know, he's come into the jail and he's celebrating the anniversary of his arrival into the jail. So similarly, we come into a certain body. We are all souls, and we have occupied these bodies in the jail of this world. And then after coming in this world on a certain day, we call it our birthday, and every year we celebrate that anniversary. But we were helplessly born head down, feet up through the womb of the mother. We didn't pick the family. We didn't pick the parents. We didn't pick the way we are going to look. We didn't pick the financial status. We didn't pick anything. Karmana daiva netrena. We are pushed by our karmic reactions. But for Krishna, it's not like that. Krishna is beyond karma. He does not come in this world because of the cycle of birth and death. We have a past life, because of which we have a present life, and this present life creates a future life. But Krishna comes one life. He doesn't have a past, he doesn't have a future. He's not bound by karma. How do we understand this? For example, sometimes our devotees go for book distribution. They distribute Bhagavad Gita. And they do this specifically, more specifically every month, but more specifically in the month of December, which is the month when Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita. So our book distributors may sometimes go into the jails and speak to the jailers and the prisoners. Does that mean just because they have entered the jail, the book distributor now becomes a criminal and the rules of the jail are applicable for him? That's not true. He may be physically in the jail, but he can walk out anytime. He can walk in anytime. He's come for a specific purpose. So this is the position of Krishna and his pure devotees. They don't belong in this world, but they come in this world only to take us out of this world. This is why our appearance is called birth and Krishna's appearance is called Avirbhav. For us, it is Janma, but for Krishna, it's Avirbhav. Avirbhav means like the sun, the rising of the sun, Suryodaya, and Suryast, the setting of the sun. The sun is not born and the sun doesn't die. The sun appears and the sun disappears, but the sun always exists. But we are having birth and we're having death. We face it, after which we don't come back in that form again. So for us, it is called birth, but for Krishna, it's Avirbhav. So Krishna, in the form of Narayana, in a four-handed form, in his eternal Swarup, with his ornaments, with his weapons, he appeared there. Till yesterday, he was in the womb. Today, he appeared out in his four-handed form. And in the presence of Devaki and Vasudev, Krishna as Vishnu, he displayed his opulence. He started speaking that you have performed bhajan, bhakti for 3 lifetimes. And you were Prishni and Sutapa. And you got me as your son as Prishni Garbha. Then you were Aditi and Kashyapa. And you got me as your son as Vamana. And now you're Devaki and Vasudev. And you've got me as Krishna. So which is that child who can remember the 3 lives of the parents at his own childbirth? He can't even remember himself. He doesn't even know his own name. He cannot even say and explain to the mother that I'm crying because I have stomach pain. He just cries. Sometimes children just hold their hair and they start crying because they can't even relieve themselves of their own hair. This is the nature of avidya, ignorance in this world. But Krishna, when he appears, he speaks the past lives of his parents. This is the difference between Jiva and Bhagavan. 2 major mistakes in human society. It's considering God to be normal living being and to consider a mere mortal, a man of this world, to be Bhagavan and to worship him. This is complete nonsense. God is God and men of this world are men of this world. Adi Shankaracharya has glorified Krishna. He has not glorified any of us. Vidagda Gopika Mano Manojnya Talpashayinim Namami Munjakanane Pravritta Vannipayinim Yada Tada Yatha Tatha Tataiva Krishna Satkatha Maya Tadaiva Giyatam Iti Kripa Vidhiyatam. Adi Shankaracharya has written a Krishna Ashtakam. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanura Mardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagat Guru. Shankaracharya has written about Krishna and he has said Yada Tada Yatha Tatha Tataiva Krishna Satkatha Maya Sadaiva Giyatam Iti Kripa Vidhiyatam. May I get the mercy that at all times, in all circumstances, may I keep speaking about Krishna's Katha, Sat Katha. Even Shripad Vallabhacharya has sung so much about Krishna. All the great acharyas have spoken about Krishna. Narada has said, Yatha Tarur Mula Nishechanena Tripyanti Tatskanda Bujopi Shakha Pranopaharacha Yatendriyanam Tathaiva Sarvaranam Achutejya. The tree of this world, with the leaves of all the different Indra, Chandra, Agni, Vayu, Varuna, etc. They all can be satisfied when the water of bhakti is given to the root, which is Krishna. Just by watering the root, the whole tree is nourished. Similarly, by performing Achyuta Ijya, worshipping Sri Hari, the whole tree is satisfied. So Krishna, he appeared and he displayed his opulence to Devaki and Vasudev. But still, Mother Devaki was very afraid. She said, till yesterday you were in the womb. Today, instead of appearing in 2 hands, you have appeared in 4 hands. This will give a hint to Kamsa that you are Bhagavan and you have appeared to kill him. Better you come back in your 2-handed form. Even better if you disappear. It will really, really protect you from Kamsa. So seeing the mother's love, that even his opulence, even his Aishwarya is not able to break the love that Mother Devaki has in the heart. Seeing that, Vishnu agrees and he instructs Vasudev Maharaj that you please kindly carry me from here to Nanda Maharaj's Gokul Mahavan. Please carry me there and don't worry, everything will be okay. So at this point, Vasudev Maharaj's description is given in the prison house. His feet is tied with iron shackles in that jail. Now you see, animals are tied generally through their neck or through their feet. Generally you see the goat is tied to the neck, and there are animals which are tied to the feet also. But Vasudeva Maharaj was tied like an animal, but not through the throat, but through the feet, one leg. So with another leg, he could move around in the prison, but with one leg, he was caught to one end of the prison house. So when he saw Krishna, and Krishna manifested a form as a baby, after speaking all of this, Vasudeva Maharaj went extending to the best that he can with his iron shackles on his feet. It's thundering here, by the way. So the scene is being set up. So, yes, so Vasudeva Maharaj, he moved with his, as much as he could, with his iron shackles, and he picked up the baby. The baby was, there was a basket that was created beforehand itself for the arrival of the child. And Shukdev Goswami has very beautifully described that this child was carried. Shukdev Goswami says, Sutam Samadaya Sutika Grihat, that in that Sutika Griha, in that place where Mother Devaki gave birth, Vasudeva Maharaj carried Krishna with lots of soft cloth, with lot of, as if it was silk, as if it was cotton, completely soft in that basket. And Krishna was put in that basket. And as soon as Vasudeva Maharaj carried Krishna in that basket, now the weather report is about to start as to what happened. Our acharyas have given so many different meanings and different lessons as to what all happened. First and foremost, what happened was, as soon as Vasudeva Maharaj picked up Krishna in the basket, the iron shackle from the feet opened up. And Vasudeva Maharaj was amazed. How did this happen? Then he thought maybe it was too tight, I was extending too much, and therefore it naturally opened. But then as he started carrying Krishna in his hand, the door started opening up. It's interesting, three things happened in the prison house. First and foremost, the iron shackles opened from the feet of Vasudeva Maharaj. Second thing that happened was, of course, Devaki Rani was put to sleep by Krishna's potency. You see, in this world also, when some surgeries have to be performed, the doctors are kind to us and they give us local anesthesia or general anesthesia sometimes, general anesthesia just to knock us off completely so that we don't know what's happening, right? So whenever there's a lot of pain, better to be knocked off so that we don't experience that pain. So Devaki Rani here was knocked off by the potency of Yoga Maya, and she was completely asleep so that she does not have to feel the pain of her 8th child, which means 6 already killed in front of her own eyes, 7th was a miscarriage, and now 8th child being carried by Vasudeva Maharaj out from the hands of Devaki, far, far away, that Devaki cannot see him again. So just so that she doesn't feel that pain, she was asleep. So this is the second thing that happened. First thing that happened, iron shackles were broken. Second thing that happened, Mother Devaki was spiritually knocked off, unconscious. Third thing that happened is the doors opened one after another. 16 doors, iron doors that Kamsa Maharaj put Devaki and Vasudeva in. They all opened one after another. And all the doormen, all the jailers, all the chokidars, they all were asleep. They went fast asleep. So they were also knocked off. Devaki was knocked off. Kamsa's doormen were knocked off. But there were two different reasons why. The doormen, the chokidars were knocked off so that they don't become a speed breaker. They don't play a spoil sport. They don't recognize the fact that Vasudeva Maharaj is carrying Krishna out of the prison. But Mother Devaki was knocked out of love so that she doesn't have to feel the separation from her own child. So at this point, the acharyas mention very beautiful things. They mention that the iron shackles opened. Is this very surprising? The acharyas say no. One great acharya writes in his work, and he says that as soon as one carries Krishna's holy name in the basket of one's tongue, or Krishna's form in the basket of one's heart, the iron shackles of karma in this world are broken to pieces. What to speak of iron shackles in the jail of Mathura? Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddhabhava samanvitaha. Krishna has said in the first Chatushloki that anyone who understands me to be the source of everything and does bhajan, what do I do? Dadami buddhi yogam tam. I give the intelligence by which you can come back to me. So Krishna is giving intelligence to Vasudeva Maharaj, and tesham evanukam partham. As the light is lit in the heart of the living being, here there is light in the darkness of the jail. Krishna is lighting. Tesham evanukam partham. The 4 verses of the Bhagavad Gita are all found in the prison house. Aham sarvasya prabhava, Krishna showed, I am the source of everything. And in this way, Vasudeva was completely bhava samanvita. He was completely absorbed in Krishna. And then, tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam. He was completely absorbed, and Krishna was guiding him how to go to Nanda Gokul. And at this point, when Krishna appeared also, Machita Madgata Prana Bodhayanta Parasparam, Devaki and Vasudeva were astonished and talking to each other about Krishna. And at the same time, Vasudeva Maharaj, as he's carrying Krishna to Nanda Gokul, he is whispering to himself. So he's so happy that he's talking to himself. And then Tesham evanukam partham. The whole darkness of the jail and the darkness of the Yamuna and the darkness of the night is lit by the torchlight. Jnana Deepena Bhasvatam. The Jnana Deepa is Krishna himself. So Vasudeva Maharaj, the iron shackles are broken, and that shows Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshishyami Ma Shucha. Do not worry, just give yourself to me, and I will break you free from all the shackles of Papa, of all the sins. So dear devotees who are joining us in this call, we don't have to worry about how sinful we are, what all mistakes we have committed in the past, because they're all like iron shackles. But as soon as we hold Krishna's holy name, which is not different from Krishna, on the basket of our tongue, and hold Krishna's form in the form of Vigraha, Murti, Shri Vigraha, the deity in the temple, in the basket of our heart, we become Krishna Vahe Vasudeva. Vaha means Vahan, Vahan, to carry. So here Shukdev Goswami calls Vasudeva as Krishna Vahe Vasudeve. He who was carrying Krishna, iron shackles broke. So if we carry Krishna Nam and Krishna Dhyan in the heart, then the iron shackles of karma, of papa pravriti, the tendency to make mistakes, is all cut to pieces. Point number 1. Point number 2, the doors opened. How many doors were there? 16 doors were there. So first of all, the doors opening is an ascharya. Number of doors is 16, that is an ascharya. So what does it teach us? The lesson that it teaches us is when someone carries Krishna's holy name in the tongue, in the basket of one's tongue, or Krishna's form in the basket of one's heart. But again, the dhyana of Krishna also comes from the Naam of Krishna. So by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. If we constantly, like Vasudeva, hold Krishna's name in the basket of our tongue, then the doors of Vaikuntha get opened. What to speak of doors of Mathura, the jail of Kamsa? Why won't they open? By chanting the holy name, Krishna says, I will aham smarami mad bhakto nayami paramam gatim. I personally will take my devotee. Nasti atra samshayam. Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram. Ya prayati sa madbhavam. Yati nasti atra samshayam. Natad bhasayate suryo na shashanko na pavaka yadgatva na nivartante tadhamam paramam mama. All these verses that we are discussing are all coming from the Bhagavad Gita. So please kindly study the Bhagavad Gita. All the pastimes of Krishna have philosophical truths from the Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna is saying that if you chant my name and remember me, I will pull you into my world and I will open the doors of mukti or liberation. If mukti dwaram apavritam, moksha dwaram apavritam, mahat sevam dwaram ahur vimukte stamod dwaram yoshitam sangha sangam. If the moksha dwaram apavritam, if the doors of liberation can be opened, why won't the doors in the prison house of Mathura get opened when Krishna is carried? It's definitely not astonishing. Also, the number of doors are interesting. 16 doors. Why 16? Because according to the Kali Santarana Upanishad, there are 16 coverings to a living being. 16 आवरण हैं बद्ध जीव के लिए. एक जीव के लिए 16 कवरिंग या आवरण है, उससे आच्छादित है. He is completely covered by these 16 coverings. What are the 16 coverings? There are 5 karma indriyas, 5 working senses. There are 5 jnana indriyas, 5 knowledge acquiring senses. And the 5 working senses, of course, you're aware of. The hands, legs, etc. So 5 working senses, 5 knowledge acquiring senses, 5 and 5 become 10. And our body is made out of earth, water, fire, air, ether. Bhumi, apaha, anala, vayu, kham. Again, Bhagavad Gita. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, also called as the Pancha Mahabhutas. So 5 working senses, 5 knowledge acquiring senses, 5 elements, Pancha Mahabhuta. 5 plus 5 plus 5 is 15. And the king of all of them is the mind, 16. So these 16 layers which cover the soul and put them in the jail of this world, they open as soon as we keep Krishna on the basket of our tongue. See, this story we have heard so many times about how Krishna appeared. But see how many lessons are hidden behind them. This is why Krishna's birth is mysterious and the pastimes are enchanting. So when a living being is caught in the jail of this world is called as a jail. Tavat kara griham griham. Brahma is saying this, that till the time one, yavat Krishna nate janaha, Bhagavatam, that till the time one does not give himself to Krishna, what happens? His griham is kara griham. His house is like a jail. And tavat mohangri nigado, and all the illusory attachments in this world are like iron shackles to the feet. Right? So all these shackles are broken, all the doors are opened, and the Maithunya Agara, the jail of this world, will free us as soon as we hold Krishna Nam on our tongue. And these 16 layers will free us. Therefore, Prabhupada also instituted 16 rounds. 1 round for 1 element. If you chant minimum 16 rounds every day, the soul will be free from the 16 elements. So those who are joining us today, if you're already chanting about 12 rounds, please make that final jump and promise Krishna as a birthday gift, as his appearance gift present that you want to give, that you will start chanting 16 rounds from Janmasthami 2020. And for others, you can take gradual steps. But if you're inspired to give Krishna this gift, go ahead. So this is the significance behind the 16. Now, what is the significance behind the jailers of Kamsa going off to sleep? Well, what that means is the jailers represent all the problems, all the speed breakers, all the different obstacles, the hindrance on our path. When we make spiritual advancement, automatically all the hindrance become weak. All the obstacles, the problems become weak. You see, when Vasudeva Maharaj crossed with Krishna, all the jailers were there. All the doormen were sleeping. They were present. It's not that they disappeared. They were present. But Vasudeva Maharaj was not affected by them because they were all sleeping. Similarly, when one carries Krishna in his heart through bhakti, problems will be there in life, but they will be fast asleep. The devotee will not be touched by them. You see, when in Mumbai it starts raining, what do? Do we go and complain to the cloud and stop the rain? No, we just pull up our umbrella. So rain is there. The rain is profusely showering. The cloud is profusely showering rain, thunders of rain, torments, the torrents of rain, creating torments of problems for us. But still we don't get wet because we are under the umbrella, right? So similarly, problems will be there in life like the rain. But like Vasudeva, if we carry the umbrella of Krishna Bhakti, then although there is rain in the form of these doormen, these chokidars, we will not be affected by them. This is a very, very important problem, a very, very important point. We should never think that by performing bhakti, problems will reduce. No, problems will continue to be there, but we will not be affected by them. Our vision of those problems will change. We will see problems as opportunities. So this is Vasudeva Maharaj escaping the jail. Now, as Vasudeva Maharaj sets out, you all know that it starts to rain, profuse rain. This also Shukdev Goswami describes very beautifully in the pages of the Bhagavatam. He says, Tayarita pratyaya sarva vrittishu dvasteshu paureshu api shayiteshu tha dvarascha sarva pihita duratyaya bruhat kapata yasakhila shrinkhalai ta krishna vahe vasudeva agate swayam vivarnyat yatha tamo ravehe Vavarsha parjanya upamshu garjitaha sheshonyagat vari nivarayan phanaihi. So Shukdev Goswami describes now what happens next. So this is like a weather report that's going on. He says that now next what happens is that it starts to rain profusely. Now, why it rains, our acharyas give 5 reasons. Reason number 1, they say it started to rain because the cloud was very happy. The cloud was very happy that till now no avatar of the Supreme Lord has come in my complexion. मेरे रंग में उतरे हैं ठाकुर. So now हमारा दर्जा बढ़ गया है. Every time Krishna will be glorified, Krishna will be called as Megha-shyam. Megha-shyam means, Megha means cloud and Shyam means dark complexion. He who's as dark as the rain-filled cloud. Or Krishna is also called as Nava Jaladhara Shyam. Nava Jaladhara is another name for the cloud. Nava means freshly formed, and Jaladhara, Jaladharati iti Jaladhara, that which holds water, is Jaladhara. That is a cloud. Jalam dharati iti. So that which holds water is a cloud. So Jaladhara is another name for the cloud. So Nava Jaladhara Shyam, that Krishna who is dark as the rain-filled monsoon cloud. So therefore the cloud is so happy that from today I will be glorified and compared. Our family, our society's honor has increased because God has come in our complexion. So in happiness they are pouring rain. Someone may ask, well, the cloud is inanimate, the cloud is non-living. How can the cloud have feelings? So to that also the acharyas have mentioned 2 points. Point number 1, they say in Krishna's pastimes, all inanimate things are also animate. There is nothing called as inanimate. In Damodar Leela, you will see ahead during Kartik Mas that the milk on the stove was boiling and thinking that how unfortunate. Mother Yashoda's milk is being accepted by Krishna, but we are here burning under, we are burning over the stove, the chula fire, and still we cannot enter Krishna's mouth. हम जल जल के तपस्या करके भी ठाकुर के श्रीमुख में प्रवेश नहीं कर सकते. We cannot enter his lotus lips. Therefore, it is better we overboil and spill over and jump into fire and commit suicide. So we could say, how can the milk think? But well, in Krishna's pastimes, everything is feeling, because in the spiritual world, everything is spiritually surcharged. It is sentient being, which means it is filled with Chaitana or consciousness. This is point number 1. Now, point number 2, the acharyas give a very poetic reason how the cloud could feel. Why? They say the cloud is ultimately Jivanadhara. Jivan means life and Dhara means to hold. That which holds life. So therefore it is living. But well, we'd say, how does it hold life? Because there's a play of word here. The word Jivana in Sanskrit also means water. So instead of saying he who holds water, like Jaladhara in the previous example, now the cloud is called as Jivanadhara. Jivana also means water. We know in science that water is life, right? So in Sanskrit, the word Jivana, which means life, is also another word for water. So the cloud is Jivanadhara, that which holds water, which means it also holds life, therefore it's living. Therefore the cloud is thinking that it is certainly my great fortune that Krishna has appeared in my complexion. This is reason number 1 why it started raining. Reason number 2 why it starts raining is the cloud is giving the fortune back to the ocean. Now we know that in the water cycle, the water comes from the ocean and becomes the cloud, and the cloud pours it back into the ocean. This is the scientific explanation of the water cycle. So here in this example, the cloud is giving it back to the ocean. Why? Because the ocean in the first place gave it to the cloud. Why would the ocean give it to the cloud? Dear devotees, listen to this very beautiful explanation by our acharyas. They say that because pearls and moti, ratna, pearls are found in the oysters under the ocean, those pearls are the representation, manifestation of Lakshmi Devi. And because the ocean is protecting Lakshmi Devi, the ocean is the father of Lakshmi. And who is Lakshmi Kant, Lakshmi Nath, Lakshmi Pati? Krishna, Vishnu. So therefore, what is the relation between Krishna, the pearl in the ocean, which is Lakshmi, and the ocean? Well, the ocean is the father for Lakshmi in the form of the pearl, and Lakshmi is the wife of Krishna. Therefore, the ocean becomes the father-in-law for Krishna. So therefore, here when Krishna is appearing, the ocean is so happy that in the future he is going to marry my daughter. Therefore, he is my son-in-law, and it's my duty to gift the son-in-law whatever I have. But what do I have? I have salty water. Therefore, he gives it to the cloud and tells the cloud, I cannot see my son because the ocean can't move. But you, O cloud, make this salty water into fresh, pure water and move like the cloud and pour it and give it to my son-in-law in the form of Krishna. How beautiful is this? So therefore, the cloud is now giving it to Krishna and giving it back to the ocean as a proof that the service that you wanted me to perform for your son-in-law, I am performing it. So this is reason number 2. I hope all of you are on the edge of your seat and you're gaining and smiling and laughing and being happy with these reasons that our acharyas are giving with the weather report analysis of what happens when Krishna appears. Point number 2. Point number 3. The acharyas describe that Indra is in control of the rain. And Indra was pouring profuse rain. Why? Because the Bhagavatam describes, Ete chansa kalapumsam krishnastu bhagavan swayam indrari vyakulam lokam mridayanti yuge yuge. That Krishna appears in this world to destroy the enemies of Indra. Krishna comes to destroy the enemies of Indra. Who are the enemies of Indra? The enemies of Indra are the demons. And Krishna comes to destroy the demons. So therefore, Indra is so happy that this Krishna avatar has come. Indra ari vyakulam lokam mridayanti yuge yuge. He has come to destroy my enemies. And therefore, it's my duty to welcome him with whatever I have. So Indra wanted to give water from his rain department to welcome that Krishna who's appearing in Mathura, who will later on destroy the demons, the enemies of Indra, and reduce the burden of Mother Earth. So this is another reason. Another reason the acharyas give why it started to rain is because the cloud was thinking that Krishna appeared in the prison house. He did not even have his first bath. So the cloud was thinking, once Krishna goes to Gokul with Mother Yashoda and Nand Baba, they're going to have a Nandotsava where Krishna is going to be bathed profusely. Unka snan hoga, Janmotsav ka abhishek hoga. And Mother Yashoda would bathe Krishna with her tears, with her love, with her breast milk. Mother Yashoda will profusely bathe Krishna with her love. But between Devaki and Yashoda is my turn, the cloud thought, to bathe Krishna and give him his first snan in this world. Also the Bhagavad Gita says, Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti uparitam ashnami prayatatmanaha. Krishna says, if you give some fruit, some flower, some leaf or little water with love, I will accept. So the cloud was thinking, I don't have fruits, I don't have flowers, I don't have leaves, but whatever water Krishna I have, it is all yours, and profuse rain. Fourth reason. And the fifth reason for now, there are many more reasons, but this is for now in the interest of time. The fifth reason why it started raining is because when it rains, those who are outside, they feel like coming home. They don't feel like bathing for a long time. They may get wet a little bit to get the experience, but they will cover up. They want to reach home as soon as possible. So those who are out, they want to come home. Those who are inside, they don't wish to go out. They close the doors because rain means they typically like to eat something or drink something hot, and people like to, laziness takes over and they sleep. So we must remember this pastime, that whenever it rains and you feel like sleeping, we should think, oh, we are like the doormen of Kamsa Maharaj. You see, when it's raining, Vasudeva Maharaj is in service of Krishna, but the doormen of Kamsa, they are busy sleeping. So during rain time, monsoon time, if we feel like, oh, I feel like sleeping, then we should understand we are going towards Kamsa Maharaj's camp. But if we are awake and chanting and serving, irrespective of whatever the weather is, then we are in Vasudeva Maharaj's camp carrying Krishna. Also, another beautiful lesson with the sleeping thing, we should understand that Devaki Rani was put to sleep by Krishna's mercy. Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Nidra Rupena Sanstita Namastasyai 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 Namo Namaha. It is Krishna's vibhuti, it is Krishna's blessing that we get sleep. So Devaki Rani got sleep by Krishna's mercy. We get sleep at the right time, we wake up at the right time. This is Krishna's mercy, so that our body gets sufficient rest and the body is fit and fine and healthy so that we can perform bhakti. But on the other hand, the doormen of of Kamsa Maharaj, they went off to sleep when Krishna is coming. You see, when Krishna was not there, they were awake. But when Krishna came, they went off to sleep. What this means is, if Krishna is coming in the form of Hari Katha, the speaker of Hari Katha is the representation of Vasudeva Maharaj. And the Hari Katha is the representation of Krishna. But at that time, when we are sitting and listening to Krishna Katha, we are hearing to the lecture, and we feel sleepy, then we must understand we are doormen of Kamsa. While chanting Japa, again, holy name is coming out. So we feel sleepy. So if we are feeling sleepy when Hari Katha or Hari Kirtan or Hari Japa is going on, that means we are towards the camp of Kamsa Maharaj. But if we want to be on the camp of Vasudeva Maharaj, then we must be very, very enthusiastic. When Krishna is coming, very, very enthusiastic, ready to walk through rain and storm and Yamuna and whatnot. This is the spirit of Vasudeva Maharaj. So the fifth reason we were mentioning, that when it rains, people outside, they want to come inside the house. And people inside, they don't want to go outside. They want to sleep. Also, when it rains outside, when it's profusely raining, you can't see anything at a distance because there are layers of water droplets. It's almost like glass panes. You can't see what's happening throughout. Who's walking, which car is coming, you can't see because it's rain. And at the same time, when it rains profusely, there's so much sound. The rain is hitting the roof, the rain is hitting the puddle of water, that even if someone's talking, you can hear and understand because there's so much sound of the rain. So all of this was needed for Vasudeva Maharaj to carry Krishna. Why? Because when Vasudeva Maharaj is carrying Krishna, if someone is outside, they may see Vasudeva carrying Krishna and the word may spread. So for them to return quickly to their house, there must be profuse rain. Also for someone in the house to not leave the house and go out, there must be profuse rain. Also if someone has some distance to go home, but they can still see Vasudeva Maharaj, profuse rain, almost like curtains, so that they can see from a distance who is coming. And at the same time, Vasudeva Maharaj's foot, lotus feet touching the water and creating the walking sound was not heard because so much showers of rain on the rooftops. So that sound was covering the sound of Vasudeva Maharaj walking. Now it is described as Vasudeva Maharaj continued to walk, Yamuna Rani, Yamuna Rani's position is shown. What is Yamuna Rani's position? Okay, Yamuna Rani comes in and she, as we know in the story, she starts getting very intense and she's very ferocious, very dangerous. Think about it, dear devotees. If we are told to sit and chant Hare Krishna in an AC room, in a hall with air conditioner, still we are not able to do. And Vasudeva Maharaj is breaking the iron shackles, opening the iron doors, trying to skip through all the doormen of Kamsa. If he's found, he will be murdered. Shukdev Goswami calls Vasudeva Maharaj a Shauri. What does the word Shauri mean? Shauri means Vasudev, who is the son of Sursen, who was a very powerful Kshatriya. So like father, like son. The son is so powerful and chivalrous and brave, like the father, that he's ready to walk at night, even amidst the tension, the risk of being seen by someone. So he's Shauri. Also the word Shauri means someone who's spontaneously brave. So to carry Krishna across, think of this now. He has to cross through Yamuna water. And Yamuna was very, 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 very fierce and intense. Krishna had appeared. And even on a general day, you just think of crossing the Yamuna without the boat, to swim across Yamuna, to walk through Yamuna. Very difficult with a baby. And Vasudeva Maharaj did that at night time by Krishna's words. Similarly, our Prabhupada also did the same thing. Prabhupada, he carried Krishna in the form of the preaching movement, and he crossed through the Yamuna water of the ocean on the Jaladuta of his basket. And there, the water was rocking back and forth, but in the spirit of Vasudeva Maharaj, Prabhupada carried Krishna consciousness, the message of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from one end of the world to another end, and very wonderfully established Krishna in his hometown, which means in every town and village. In the footsteps of Vasudeva Maharaj, Prabhupada is also a Shauri. So Vasudeva Maharaj is now thinking, he is looking at the waters of the Yamuna, and they are very, very, very deep, very dangerous. And our acharyas give 5 reasons why Yamuna was also so terrific and so dangerous at that point. Reason number 1, the acharyas say, ultimately, Yamuna is the sister of Yamaraj. Yamaraj, and Yami, which is Yamuna, they both are twins. They are brother, sister, the children of Surya Dev. So the acharyas gave reason number 1. The father is very intense, son. The brother is very intense, which is Yamaraj. So sister of Yamaraj and the daughter of the sun god will be intense. So this is just the nature of Yamuna. So therefore, she became very intense. But at the same time, other reasons given are, our acharyas give the second reason why Yamuna became so intense is because Yamuna already had a snake in her waters in the form of Kaliya. And now when Vasudeva Maharaj is walking from behind, Anantashesh is also coming. Another snake. Anantashesh was coming here to assist Vasudeva Maharaj. So beautiful. Anantashesh is coming to guard Vasudeva and Vasudeva Sri Krishna from the rainwater. Anantashesh could have thought, like some devotees say that Anantashesh was standing next to Vasudeva Maharaj. But the Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas describe that Anantashesh was standing behind Vasudeva Maharaj. Think about it, dear devotees. Such a beautiful meditation. Anantashesh could have thought, hey Vasudeva, you are carrying Krishna only once. But I as Anantashesh, as the serpent, I carry Mahavishnu all the time. You are just doing emergency service. But I am the constant companion. So therefore, you walk behind me, I will carry Krishna. Anantashesh did not think like this. He thought, at the present moment, Vasudeva Maharaj is serving Krishna. And if Krishna is my master, why won't Krishna's father be my master? And therefore, I can serve Krishna not by trying to be his servant, but I can serve Krishna by being the servant of Sri Krishna. By being the Anuyayi, which means the follower, walking behind Vasudeva Maharaj. Anantashesh is opening up his hoods and protecting Vasudeva and Vasudeva Sri Krishna like an umbrella from the waters of the rain cloud. So, second reason why Yamuna became so stirred up is because the acharyas describe Yamuna was thinking, I already have one snake in my water, which is Kaliya. Now another snake is coming here. If I am keeping quiet, snake after snake will come and destroy my pond, my river water. Therefore, she's showing her intensity as if to, to fear off, to scare off Anantashesh. This is the second reason. Third reason our acharyas give is Krishna is Gopal. The word go means cows. The word go means calves and cows. Krishna is called Gopal because he is the protector of the cows. But the word go in Sanskrit also means waves or waters. So Yamuna Maharani is telling Krishna that you are Gopal, which means protector of the cows, the go. But go also means waters. Oh Krishna, oh Gopal, please protect, Pal, please protect the go, the waters of my existence from this Kaliya serpent. So therefore Krishna jumped into Yamuna and destroyed Kaliya and shooed him away, subdued him, because as soon as Krishna appeared in Mathura, it was Yamuna who prayed and said, you are Gopal, but go apart from meaning cows, go also means waters. So please protect my waters from the serpent of Kaliya. You are Gopal. If I don't beg and ask you with artha bhav, with desperation, you will not listen to my call. So please, my Lord, pay attention to me. Then the fourth reason given is this Yamuna in the future is going to become Kalindi, one of Krishna's wives in Dwaraka. And you know, the marriage is always made, the matches are made as much as possible with equals. So Krishna is the descendant of Sursen. Sursen's son is Vasudeva, Vasudeva's son is Vasudeva Krishna. But Yamuna is also the daughter of Surya Dev, who is also Sur. Sen means master and Sur is another short form for Surya. So Yamuna is showing to Vasudev Maharaj, I desire to become the future queen of your son, and marriages are between equals. So if your son is the descendant of Sursen, I am also the descendant of Suryadev, which is Sursen, and therefore being Kshatriyas, I want to appeal to you, please kindly accept me as your daughter-in-law, as the fit wife of your son, Sri Krishna. I am asking you with my folded palms as a proposal from my side that I also match your family. It's not that I will put your family down. So to show Vasudev Maharaj that she's of the equal standard of Krishna, she's showing her Kshatriya spirit, her fighting spirit as the terrific waters of the Yamuna. And the fifth reason, what has been mentioned by the Acharyas, is Yamuna is doing Bhuvana Prasara. Bhuvana means earth, and Prasara means to expand. So when someone expands life and gives life and profusely does good in this world, it is called Bhuvana Prasara. He is doing the Prasara, he is expanding the fortune of Mother Earth. So generally, the daughter-in-law in Sanskrit is someone who does Bhuvana Prasara, which means she is the one who expands the family. She is the one who brings in good fortune. So Yamuna here is saying, I am also doing Bhuvana Prasara. How? In Sanskrit, the word Bhuvana also means water and Prasara means to extend. So by extending my water, I am doing the Bhuvana Prasara, which means I am the fit daughter-in-law because I know the art of expansion. So please kindly accept me as your daughter-in-law, as the wife to your son, Sri Krishna. So in this way, Yamuna, she was becoming very terrific and very fearful, very scary. But Vasudeva Maharaj continued, and she suddenly made like a wall on both sides, and from the center opened way for Vasudeva and Sri Krishna to walk past. So to the sides she stood up like walls of water, and from the center she let Vasudeva and Sri Krishna walk past. So what is the meaning of that? Kali, our Yamuna Maharani is teaching us, block the inflow of thoughts in this world and let Krishna and his pure representative enter in the middle of our existence, that is the heart. Yamuna is teaching all the readers of the Bhagavatam, by standing onto the side, by creating walls of water very high to the side and giving Vasudeva and Sri Krishna the pathway through the center, Yamuna is teaching us through tall walls of restriction and resistance, stop the inflow of thoughts of this world, and through the middle, which means through our heart, let Krishna with his pure representative Guru enter our heart. So in this way, Yamuna Maharani is teaching us these lessons. Many more points to follow, how Vasudeva Maharaj was carried, how Vasudeva Maharaj carried Krishna across. Ananta Shesh, what are the principles he teaches us. Then Vasudeva Maharaj carries Krishna across to Nanda Gokul, keeps Krishna there at the next to Mother Yashoda very carefully, so that Mother Yashoda does not wake up, so that Krishna does not start crying, and picks up the baby girl from there very carefully, so that the baby girl does not start crying and spoil the whole scene. Such a Shauri, such a brave devotee. He's ready to take so much risk for Krishna, ready to break the iron shackles, ready to cross through the doors, challenge all the doorkeepers, take the risk of being seen and killed by Kamsa, crosses the Yamuna, goes to a new place, keeps the baby there, so that Mother Yashoda does not wake up, Krishna does not start crying, picks up the baby girl from there so that she does not start crying, and crosses back and brings the baby girl in. This should be the preaching spirit. This should be the missionary spirit of a devotee. So therefore, Krishna's appearance in the prison house of Mathura is not just a historic event. It is a life-changing, principle-filled, lessons-filled existence even today that we can learn inspiration from. So Janmasthami is not, it's a holy day, but it's not just a holy day. It's the event of introspection where these lessons can be absorbed. And if we can accept these principles in our life, then in the jail of our heart, in the darkness of helplessness, with the devotion of Devaki and Vasudeva, Krishna can incarnate in our heart and make us feel very happy. Thank you so much. It is 8 o'clock. So I pass the call back to our admins and our organizers. I really want to extend my gratitude for kindly considering me, including me in this festival. And I want to thank all the participants for kindly attending.
So many things he said.
Your auspicious presence. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari.